Yeah, welcome back guys to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be exploring how you can draft a plan from sketch in Archicad and verse in Revit. So I'm going to use my sketch to draft a plan in Archicad 26, and I'm also going to use the same sketch to come to Revit 2024 and design the same building. So I'm just going to compare how both of them are going to work and which one is more easier and simpler to design with, and which one is more powerful in beam and stuff like that. So I'm just going to start with Archicad, and we are going to draw out my sketch here, and then we're going to Revit and do the same. So this is what I have. This is just a 2-bedroom apartment, and these letters are symbolizing what the rooms are. So if it's a BA, it's a bathroom. If it's a B, it's a bedroom. A KT is a kitchen, and DN is a dining area, and LR is a living room, with a V meaning veranda. So with that said, I'm going to start by designing my house here in Archicad, and then we're going to do the same in Revit. So let me start by designing these walls independently, and then we can then do the same with Revit. So I'm just going to start using line tool, because before I start drafting off my plan, I love using my line tool to show how the walls are going to be aligned in my plan. So I'm just going to use my line tool, and I'm going to make it blue so that you can actually see. So the first thing, I'm going to draw a line of 7.5 meters. That's going to tab, then I'm going to write 7500, then I'm going to press OK. And then with that done, I'm going to let me just drag my line to the center. Let me drag it to the center here of my working plane. And then the next thing, I'm going to draft a same line that is 7 meters now on this corner here, and I'm going to drag a copy to the other corner too. So I'm just going to come back and draft a line there, then tab, and make sure it's 7 meters. Then I'm going to enter, and then make sure this one is 7.5, 500, and then enter, and then we just finish it off like this. So this is going to be the constraints of our house here. I'm just going now to add the dimensions in terms of these partitions. And first of all, I'm just going to make sure add the first veranda, which I have here, this veranda here, and it's going to be, let's say it's going to be 1.2 meters. So I'm going to now take my same line and draw a line that is 1.2, 1200, and then I'm going to enter it, and then draw a line here that is 3.5, because my rooms are, the house divided into two parts in this side on the width, and it's divided into like 3 parts in the length. So I'm going to draw 3.5, 3500, and then I'm going to enter. And I'm just going to take something here and cut this into, I'm going to cut it into half. So this is what we call setting out, because in the site, this is how you're going to approach things. I'm just going to do it like we always do in the site. So the next thing we're going to do is you're going to now draft these bedrooms, because they help us in knowing how things are going to partition. So the first thing, we're going to draw the first bedroom, which is 3 meters long. So I'm going to make sure it is 3000, and then I'm going to enter. Actually, let me make this one 3500, because this is the master bedroom. And then I'm going to now draw something here. Let me make sure let me just draw something, and then I'm going to drag it there. And then I'm just going to check this line and draft it to somewhere there. So then with that done, I'm going to now put my bathroom, which I want it to be 1 meter wide, not 1.5, and then I'm going to make it like 2 meters long. So let me remove this one now, and then I'm going to use the line tool again, draw a line that is 2 meters. Let me just make sure it is like that, or maybe, yeah, that's okay. And then I'm just going to drag something here and draw a line that is 1 meter now. So 1 meter, then I'm going to enter. Then I'm just going to take my line that is 2 meters and drag it to the edge of my line that is 1 meter here. And then I'm going to now make sure the 1 meter one is at the end of my 2 meters. So something like that. So so I'm going to make sure they touch in the center, at this corner I mean. So I'm going to come here and just drag it back to where it's supposed to be. And then with that done, I'm going to now drag this one up to where it's supposed to be. So something like this. So yeah, with that done now, we're going to draft the last bedroom, which is in the sketch here, this one, and then we're just going to finish off with that. So this bedroom is a bit higher because it's not going to be in the same constraints as the first bedroom. Is going to be a bit longer in terms of the width. So I'm just going to take the same 1 meter line there, and I'm just going to extend it now to meet the bedroom that is going to be a bit higher, maybe somewhere here. So I'm just going to make sure it's like 4, because this thing is divided into 3.5 and 3.5. I think this one is going to be 4. So let me write 4,000, and then I'm going to enter. Then with that done, I can now reduce this line here, and then just draw another line on this other area. So I'm just going to take another line and draft it out here. So that done, now we have our plan in terms of the setting it out in the from the sketch, and we have this plan. So let me do the last thing, which is the veranda of this area, and it's like a meter. So I'm just going to come here, and I'm just going to draw meter line, and then I'm going to enter. Let me make sure it's a meter, and I'm going to enter. I'm just going to draw another line to meet it there up to somewhere. I think it goes all the way down to the it goes to the bedroom. So let me draw it like this. So this actually leaves me with space. Like, let me just measure the space so that I can distribute this equally. Let me just reduce this veranda to maybe, let me reduce that, then let me just drag this line here, and I'm going to just drag it out by, let's say, 800, because I don't want to have a small kitchen and living room because of a big veranda. So that's what we have. So this is my plan in terms of lines. I'm just going to put the walls and the slab and the windows and those type of things, and they finish off with the furniture. So I'm going to start by putting out my walls. So I'm just going to go to walls, and then I'm going to use the go outside option so that I can draw them inside my plan. So I'm just going to draw it out like this. So something like this. I'm just going to draw these lines in these walls independently because I don't want them to be continuous. So so we're going to draw this wall next, this one. So I'm just going to take it, this one I'm going to change it maybe to be at the center, the core, and then I'm just going to draw it on my line like that. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. Let me just flip this one so that the core is outside, like that. And then I'm just going to take the same wall and draw it on this exterior wall. So I'm just going to start by using the center line now, and I'm going to draw these exterior walls here, so continuously up to the end of our building there. So that's where it is. Let me first make space, and then I can finish it off like that. So with that done, I can now maybe make a right angled joint here by just selecting the two walls and coming up here and intersecting like that. So now we have our exterior walls done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our interior walls, and we're just going to do that by going into the walls tool again, and then going to the drop down menu and selecting interior walls. So that's selected. I'm just going to go to the settings now, and I'm going to change the interior walls maybe to custom, and then I'm just going to reduce the thickness so that you can have some realistic interior walls, maybe let's say 200. And then we're just going to draft it out first. So let me come here, and now we can now draft the interior walls with the center line. So do it like this, then continue doing it like that up to somewhere here. And I'm just going to take this one, and then I'm just going to drag it upwards, and maybe take another one. Let me go to the wall tool again, and I'm going to drag this one out like this. And then I think this one is not supposed to be here. There's a veranda here, so I'm just going to reduce this wall up to somewhere there. And then we are going to finish it off with another wall here. So this one is going to be an exterior wall, so I'm just going to change it back to exterior, and then go to my settings and change it back to my composite that I had earlier. So just going to now go and draw the last wall that is here. Yeah, and with that we have finished drafting our plan in terms of the walls, and now we can just go by the next thing, which is actually putting the windows and then the furniture. So one thing I want to edit is, maybe let me make sure my bathroom is a bit more spacious, maybe, but I think this is going to be okay. Let's just see with the furniture. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my windows and draft my windows out in my plan. So I'm going to go to my window tool here, and then I'm just going to select a window in Archicad so that we can use. This time I'm not going to make my own window, so I'm just going to look at the windows that I have here. So let me look at the basic windows, and I'm just going to use this double sash window, and we're going to make sure the seal is at 1000 and it's 1500 by 1500. I'm going to press OK. Then I'm going to place them on where I want my windows to be placed. So the first place I want it to be placed is here on this master bedroom here, and then the next place is here where I'm going to have my living room. So somebody is going to enter through here, and yeah, let me make sure something here is going to be somewhere here. Yeah, so, and then the next one is going to be the kitchen here, but the kitchen one is going to be smaller. We're just going to edit it later. Then the next one here is going to be at this area for my the other bedroom, and then we're just going to edit the one for my kitchen. I'm going to select the kitchen one, then I'm just going to make it to be 1 meter by 1 meter. So it's going to be something like that. So with that done, the next one is going to be for my bathroom, which I'm just going to use the same window, but I'm just going to edit the seal to 1800 and then edit the constraints to 500 by 500. So then I'm going to place it here. So that's our bathroom window. So this is where we have reached. And the next thing we are going to do is we're going to now put our doors. Let me drag this one back here so that it can have enough space for my door. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my door tool in the design tab here and pick a door. And let me just go and pick any door here. Let me enter. Make sure I have any door here. So I'm going to come to the built-in libraries. Just want to look for one that is there. Yeah, so I'm going to look for a door. Each doors. Yeah, so I'm going to select one of the doors that I'm going to be using here. So let me look for one that is good for me. Let me use this one with transom. And then I'm just going to change my grid to be this style on the no grid here to make it style 2 maybe. And then with that done, the settings I want to make it, settings are just cool. Let me just press OK, and then I can use my door. So I'm going to place the first door here, and then it's going to open in terms of it's going to enter inside like this. So the next door is going to be at the kitchen, and this one I think is supposed to open outwards. So I'm going to open it up and open it like this, and then I'm going to take another door here into my bedroom. It's going to open it like this, and then another one here for my, this one actually is going to be opening like this. Actually we're not going to have a door here, so I'm just going to escape, and then I'm going to reduce the settings for this one to maybe 700. Then we're going to use it for our bathroom now. So our bathroom is going to open like this. So yeah, actually we need a door for this place here. So with that done, let me just show you how you can realistically place this door. You can see I'm just going to select the door here, because in realistic terms my door is not going to open all the way around up to the wall there. Maybe there's going to be something like a sink somewhere here, so it's going to be open like a bit. So I'm just going to close it a bit to just show that illusion, maybe up to somewhere here. because if you enter already, you can just close the door and access your sink. So that's what we have now. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my line tool again, and then I'm going to just draft out this area here to have maybe like a meter, and then somewhere here again something like this. So let me make sure this one is okay. I'm going to make sure this one is a meter too. Let me make sure it's a meter. Then I'm just going to drag this one up to there to make an entryway to a bathroom here, and then the bedroom, because this bathroom is going to be used by guests too, because you don't want somebody to enter your room to access your bathroom. So I'm going to now reduce these walls, and then I'm going to show you a trick. You can actually just take this wall and put it there, and then I'm just going to select one of the places here and then press plus, and then you can just put it on the different areas there. So I'm just going to do like that, and then we're going to have something like this. So that done, I can now just take this one and drag it out for privacy. Then we have something like that. So I'm just going to take my door again in the design, and we're just going to put a door here for my bathroom here for 700, and then one for my bedroom here. So with that done, now we have bathroom doors there. And then I can just select one wall here, maybe this one that is going like this. Then I can now extend it up to the edge there. So to select one wall, you make sure your groups here on this tab here are suspended, and now you can select each wall individually. So with that done, now you can see my house has taken shape in terms of the doors and the windows. And the next thing is going to be the furniture. So we are going to come here to my design tab again, then we're going to go to objects. Then I'm just going to design my living room first. I'm just going to look for a sofa. Just search for sofa there, and then it's going to give you a bunch of options that you can pick from. Just want to pick one that is a bit cool. Let me just go and select one like this one. Then I'm just going to go to the preview and see the settings, and make sure it's at 0 here. Then I'm just going to press OK, and now place my sofa. So I'm going to make sure it faces this wall here, because we are going to mount our TV there. So I'm just going to Control E and make it turn like that. So with that done, I can now just drag it back somewhere here, and to just allow for somebody to still enter and access somebody can still move around. So I'm just going to make sure my door goes up to somewhere there, and then we have this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to place it somewhere here. Then the next thing we're going to maybe put a small sofa here and maybe a table. So I'm going to go to my objects again, look for another small sofa. I think they are here, like this one, and then I'm going to place it somewhere there. So I'm going to take it up like this, Control E, then just drag it to face the right direction somewhere there. So I know something like this, somebody walking around here will be a bit tricky. It's a small house, so maybe the door is supposed to be a bit smaller, maybe 800 somewhere there. So I'm just going to reduce the door and drag it back a bit, and then the sofa can open up some space for walking around. So with that done, actually you can just flip this door. I'm just going to open this door, then I'm going to flip it like this, then I'm just going to do it like this. Let me just delete it again and do the door again. So I'm going to come here, and I want it to open like this. This is where, because I want it just to show you this is a circulation space, so something like that. And then I'm just going to make sure my size is like 800. So that done, now we have something like this. Then I can just drag it back a bit. Let me drag it back a bit, and I can show you the trick, because you're not going to fully open the door. Even in realistic terms, you're just going to open a door at an angle. So I'm just going to put it at an angle in the plan too. So That done, I can just put a table. Let me go here and search for a table in the objects. Table. Let me search for a table, maybe something just simple, maybe this one, and then I can make sure it's at 0, and then I'm just going to place it here. So you have something like this, and I'm just going to drag it back a bit so that you can have that space there. And we have a space for our TV, so I can come here to my design, to my object tab again, and then I can search for I'm going to search for a TV stand. Let me search for a TV stand, and we're going to just select one like this. Make sure it's a bit smaller because we have a small room, and 1500 like that, and yeah, something like this, and just place it there. So with that placed, yeah, we're going to now drag it back a bit, like put it there exactly where the wall is. And because it's a small room, furniture is supposed to be a bit smaller, so I'm going to reduce my coffee table to be smaller, maybe a meter, and maybe the width to be, let's say, 600. So let me press OK, and it's going to reduce my coffee table like that. So with that done, now we have an illusion of a living room that is a small house for, yeah, this is how it's going to be, and a TV is going to be mounted on this wall. So with that done, we can now go to our bedrooms, and let me open my objects tab again and look for a bed. So for my master bedroom, I'm going to look for a bed. Let me just search for bed there. Then you can just pick from the many beds Archicad has, and you can just maybe pick something that for maybe a master can like this one. So I'm going to press OK. Then I'm going to place it in my bedroom. So I'm going to take the bed. I'm going to control it so that it can face the wall like this. And then I'm just going to drag it back here, so it can be somewhere there. So that done, now you have something like this. Actually, let me see if it is a design issue. Let me see. Yeah, let's just drag it somewhere. Actually, let's just drag it the other way around because we don't want you to be waking up and looking at the toilet. So let me just control E, drag it the other way around, and just place it somewhere like this, so we can have a wardrobe this area and the toilet the other area. So it's a big bed, so I'm just going to now look for my wardrobe. Sorry, before we look for a wardrobe, let me just use the same bed and put it in the other bedroom, but just reduce the size. So I'm going to Control Shift D and drag a copy here, and I'm just going to reduce the size of this one because it's not a master. I'm just going to make it a bit smaller, maybe 1500, and the height, let's just reduce this to maybe 2 meters. So it's going to be something like this, and yes, I'm going to now put it at the edge there. So now we have our bedroom bed. So the next thing is going to be our wardrobe. So I'm just going to come to my objects tab again and search for wardrobe here. So wardrobe, and it's just as easy as searching in Archicad. So I'm just going to select one that I want, maybe this one. Then I'm going to place it there. So I'm just going to press OK, maybe, and then place my wardrobe there. So I'm going to make sure it's facing the right direction, Control E, and doing like that, and then just dragging it back. Yeah, well, for this one you can just extend it by selecting one of the edges there and just extending it to how long you want it to be. Yeah, for a wardrobe, I don't think it's supposed to be like 500. It's supposed to be like 450 because that's how most of them are, the width. And then I'm going to now press OK. It's going to reduce the width. Now I can drag it back to my wall here. So we have something like this. Then I can just use the same wardrobe, Control Shift D, and come to this area here and Control E so that it can face this wall here. So I'm going to do like that. Then I'm just going to drag it, zoom in and drag it there, and I'm just going to now reduce it and to fit into the room, so somewhere like this. Just a matter of placing it. Yeah, so with that done, now the next thing is going to be about we're going to now put our bathrooms, and we're going to start by putting our toilets, and we're going to go to our objects tool again, go to the area and then search for toilet. Let me just search it, toilet, like that. Let me now remove it and search again, toilet, and it's going to give me various options. I'm just going to use this one. Then I'm going to press OK and place it in my bathroom here. So this is the where I want it to be. My bathrooms are small, so I'm just going to fix that a bit. So I'm going to now control E this one so that it can go like this, and maybe drag it somewhere like this. Let me see if that's going to help. Yeah, so with that said, it will force me to like increase my bathroom in terms of the width. So I'm just going to increase this one. Let me just drag this wall here. First, let me just split the wall, come to my axe here, and then I can just split the wall where I want it to be split. So let me split it this side, then I can just draw it up there, and now drag this wall outside to encompass more space, so like there. And then I'm just going to join it again with this, like this. So let me control Z so that it can become straight. I'm just going to join it up there like that, and then this one I'm going to make sure it comes back like that. So we have a bigger bathroom. So I'm just going to now delete all my lines because I don't need them now. I'm going to control A, and then I'm just going to delete them. Now we have something like this. So now we are going to now make the bathroom workable. Let me first control Z so that I can have this wall back, and then I'm just going to uncheck and now press all the lines, control A. Then I'm going to delete them now. So we have something like this, and the next thing is going to be our shower. So I'm going to bring in my shower in the design place and then the objects. Then I'm going to search shower. So I'm going to come here and search shower. So let me make sure I type it well. Yeah, and then I'm going to have this option. So I'm just going to use this one to have a sense of a shower, and then I'm just going to press OK and place it so that you can see how we can now arrange our bathroom. So I'm going to take my shower and put it somewhere there. So it's going to be a big shower actually. So I'm just going to reduce this one to be like 800 because this is not like a mansion. It's something like a small cabin. So let me make sure it's 800 by 800 so that it becomes a bit smaller. Then we have something like this. So with that done, it will force me to change the position of my door. I'm just going to take my door out. Let me select it here. Let me just zoom in and select on the edges. Then I can control D to drag the door to the edge, maybe here. So that done, now you have a bathroom here, and we have a door there. So that done, the next thing is we're going to need a sink. So the next thing I'm going to do, actually I can just take my bathroom and so I'm just going to make some few changes because as you design, you're going to notice the furniture is the most important thing in terms of showing you if your room is going to work. So I'm just going to make sure everything is spacious enough for my room. So I'm just going to drag out these areas here and create more space for my bathroom. So I'm just going to make sure everything is okay. Make these ones right angle by joining them like that. I'm just going to drag this shower cabin there, and now we are going to have something like this for my bathroom. So I'm just going to now drag my door to the center. Let me drag it there, and then we're going to have something like this. So with that done, we can now place our sink here. So I'm going to come to my objects again, and then I'm just going to call it a water basin because that's the real name here. So I'm going to, where am I, not water basin, just search it. It is going to search Archicad. If it does not find it, let me just call it a basin. Yeah, and then you can find it now. This is the type of basin I want, the basin 26. I'm just going to reduce it because 600 is a bit big, very big actually. So I'm just going to make it 400, and then the width is supposed to be like 300 because, yeah. I'm just going to now press OK and place it there. So with that done, now you can take my basin and then Control E to have something like this. Then I'm just going to place it there. So maybe if you want, you can increase the width, maybe make it 450 to something like that. So can now, yeah, something like that is okay. So I'm just going to drag it now to be at the center, and then we have our working bathroom. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the same things and now place them onto my other bathroom here. So my guest bathroom, that is. So I'm just going to extend my wall to be somewhere up to there. Then I'm going to go first by our shower. I'm going to place it there. But actually, in the real sense, you're going to have something like a overhead shower. In these times, these smaller bathrooms, you're not going to have a shower cabin. So it's just creating an illusion of a shower. So I'm just going to place it there. And I'm going to, let me Control Z and drag a copy, Control Shift D. And let me escape first. Select this, Control Shift D. And I'm just going to drag a shower there. So with that done, I can now extend my wall to be somewhere up to the edge, and we can now put the other things. So for this one, I want this to be coming down like this. Then we are going to, now let me just design this thing in terms of putting it out. Let me remove the shower because this is a bit smaller. I'm going to start with this, Control Shift D and place it there. Yeah, so these small spaces are usually very tricky to work with, but I know we are going to find a solution. Let me Control E, and we can do it like this. Let me Control Z and make it right angle. So I'm going to do it like this. Yeah, so let me just make sure it's right angle. So I don't know why it's not coming like that. So come like this and drag it to be at right angle. So let me just tab and write it 90 degrees. Yeah, so I'm just going to drag it back to place it somewhere there. This is going to allow for a space of a shower or a shower head to be here so that you can shower on that area. So with that placed, now I think let me just measure this area for my economics to be alright. Let me just now I just have to reduce my bedroom. So I'm just going to drag my bed a little bit back, then drag the wall a little bit back again. So we have something like this, and then I'm just going to drag that for my ergonomics to be okay. So I'm just going to measure there, and we can now have ample space for you to squat. So the next thing is going to be our basin. So I'm just going to remove the door, and then I'm going to place my basin first, and then you can see how you're going to place the door back. So I'm going to come here. Now let me actually just take this one, and then let me Control Shift D and drag a copy to somewhere here to see how things will be. Let me Control E to now make it something like this, and let me just drag here to the corner here like this, and then we can now, yeah, you can just now change this one to be for the one for a corner. Let me go to my area here and just choose the basin corner. So I'm going to press OK, and then I'm just going to reduce its size because this is too big for a corner. Let me make it 400, and maybe here to be 300. Yeah, so I'm just going to Control E it again in this axis, and then you can now make it like this and put it on our corner there. So let me just draw it back there. Yeah, something like this. So the next thing is going to have, we are going to have to put our door back. So I'm just going to come to my door tool again, and then I'm just going to place my door to open like this. So that done, I can now make it realistic in terms of you are going to open it realistically. You're going to open the door, and then you're going to enter. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a shower head, because you are not having enough space for a full-on shower cabin. So I'm just going to reduce that, and then I'm going to come here to my objects. I'm just going to search shower again. I'm just going to choose now what we have. We have this shower kit, so I'm going to now place it here. So I'm just going to place it there, and this is going to be enough for you to shower. So I'm going to Control E to make it like this, and I'm just going to drag it there, and then I'm just going to use a line to show where I'm going to put my shower curtains, somewhere here. Then we have enough space for a shower. So yeah, something like that. So this is going to be how things are. This is how things are, and then now we can just put our slab. So let me first just extend this wall to be somewhere there, and then this one to be somewhere here, so that it be aligns with my other things. Now I can just now go to my slab tool, design, and then I'm going to select my slab, go to my settings, and make sure it's the composite slab and everything is okay. Let me turn off these, and then just make sure it's made of something. Let me just make sure the upper part is made of tile. Maybe let me go to ceramic, just choose something, maybe tile, like, yeah, maybe this turn 30 by 30, and then you can now just press OK and draw our slab for our building. So I'm just going to come here, use the second selection, and I'm just going to now draw it out, and we have our slab. So this is how you can now put a building up. And then the last thing remaining is the kitchen, and we're going to have a, let me say, an L-shaped kitchen, I guess. So let me see how I'm going to design this. So yeah, so for my kitchen, I'll start by reducing the size of this door to make it smaller enough for my countertop of my worktop. I'm just going to now drag this door here back, because yeah, somewhere there. So, and then we have this all for our worktop. And to design our worktop, we're going to use our slab tool. We're just going to go to our slabs, go to the settings of the slab, make it custom, and then make sure it's concrete. Let me make it concrete, and let's make it something like structural, and then we're going to reduce its thickness to 10 or 100, like that. So that, and then we're going to make the height from the floor to be 900. So that's how things are going to be. And then with the tiles, I'm just going to use this white 15 by 15, and we have our worktop ready. So I'm just going to press OK. Then I'm just going to use the first option and draw it out in terms of where it is supposed to be. So I'm going to come up to here, then come up to there, maybe 600, like that. Come back like this and just finish off like that. So now we have our worktop, and I'm just going to make this, I'm going to fillet this corner here. So I'm just going to select fillet there. Then I'm just going to press OK for this corner, so that somebody can be safe and not get hurt when he hits himself there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to now place where I think our cooker is going to be somewhere here. So I'm just going to show it out with my line tool. I'm just going to show something like this here, to just have a sense of things, how the things are going to be. So yeah, so I'm going to continue up to, so let me just make the width to be 600. Let me go down and make it 600, and the top here to be 1200. Let me enter, and then we have that space for our cooker, maybe somewhere here. So that done, now I think we are going to have our plan, and then I'm going to finish it off. Let me just go here to the objects tool, and then I'm just going to put in my sink for my kitchen just to show it. So let me come here and search sink. And you're going to create, just choose one that is a bit like this one. Then I'm going to make sure it's like, let's say 850 above the ground, and I'm going to press OK. I'm just going to place my sink here, and I'm just going to Control E to drag it to show it off like this. So I'm going to come here again, draft it out like that. So let me just escape and just drag it next to my wall. So yeah, somewhere there. Yeah, this is how my sink is going to be. And the last thing is just going to be my cooker. Let me just look for it, and we can finish it off. So it's going to be a cooker. So let me go to my cooker. My cook is a side cook, and you're going to have options here. So I'm just going to select one, maybe this one, or actually let me select this one, and then I'm going to press OK and just place it on my kitchen there. So I'm going to drag it out to somewhere here, and we're going to have a cooker ready. Yeah, so I'm just going to delete this line so that we now have the full kitchen illusion. And with this space here, you can actually have some cabinets over here so that you can access them easily. So I think my kitchen is okay. So maybe let me just drag it back here. Yeah, so I think my kitchen is okay, and maybe I can just make my living room a bit bigger, because we don't want to have a bigger veranda than our living room. So I'm just going to drag it back like this and make sure everything is okay, allowing for more space for my kitchen and things like that. So with that done now, I think everything is okay, and this is how you can draft a simple plan. This is actually a very small house. It's made a small 2-bedroom, and you can just draft it as easily as that in Archicad. So to make these walls black, I can go to my documents and just go to my graphic overrides, and let me make a new combination. Let me just say simple plan, and then I'm going to press OK. I'm just going to add a rule and make sure all my cut fields are solid black. Then I'm going to add. Then I'm just going to manage my rule and make sure the element type
going to
is.
approach it. Then
I'm just
we
going
have
to
done
change
with
it to
Archicad. I'm going to bring the file in.
everything is going to be
Okay.
okay. I'm going to press OK.
And we're going to import image,
Press OK.
and we're going to bring
change my walls
sketch of our buildings for reference.
Plan in Archicad.
Yeah, I'm just
I
going
know
to
it's
now
not like
rotate
the
it using
biggest
the
or
rotating tool
the
here.
most
I'm
luxurious
just going to
buildings,
pick
but
the
this is just a
center.
simple building, and
Then I'm just going
anybody
to rotate
can design this type
90
of building.
degrees.
So the next thing I'm going to do
just
is we're going to
drag
do
it
the same
somewhere
thing
here
in
so that
Revit, and let's
use
go
for
to
reference.
our
I'm just
Revit
gonna
now. Let's
reduce
go
this.
and open up Revit.
Yeah, so with that,
This is
put
the
there, we
Revit
can now start
homepage.
drawing our plan.
So
And first, we're going to start by drawing the lines to represent our plan, like we did for Archicad. So I'm going to go to annotate, and I'm going to go to detail line, and then I'm just going to sketch out my plan before we start. So I'm going to draw the first area, which is the length, which is 7500, the width, which is going to be maybe 7000, like it was, and then the length again 7500, and then we finish the loop with the other area. So with that done, I will have to now draw half of this. Let me actually put it to be, let me make it a bit bigger, maybe 3000. Let me just change the dimensions a bit, like for Archicad. I'm just going to make the bedroom a bit smaller and the living room a bit bigger here in Revit. So I'm going to extend this one maybe up to somewhere there, up to 3000, and then I'm just going to now push this line up to that area. So with that done, I'm just going to now draw my bathroom. I'm just going to come here and I'm going to draw a line by like for 1500. I'm going to enter, and I'm just going to draw another line like that. So with that done, I'm just going to now stretch out this line to cover a length of like 2300, and it will just move like that. So let me just edit a little bit because I want some space for my door. Then I'm just going to come here and stretch out this line so that it becomes longer, maybe 4000, like we had in Archicad. Then I'm just going to finish off by drawing a line that is going to match with the wall. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to drag it up there. So Now we have that, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to now draw a line that is going to represent the bathroom that is going to be over here. So I'm going to make it maybe 1200, or at least let me just make it 1000, and you can enter and you can just finish off like that. So that done, I can now push this up like this, and we have something like this. So I'm going to have to minimize, to remove this one and make it a bit shorter, so that we have an illusion of somebody should enter, or enter the bedroom or the bathroom. So I'm just going to reduce this one a bit, maybe to make it 2200, just to allow for the shower, the toilet, and the basin. So we have that. Then the next thing is going to be our verandas. Let me just go to let me just zoom in and draw a veranda here. Maybe let's say 800 is enough, and then you can just draw another line there. Just click on the 800 there, actually click on this one, and just extend it up to the end there like that. So I'm just going now to delete this, and I'm going to do the same with the other side. I'm going to come here, draw a line, maybe 800 or maybe 700 for the kitchen, and then we can now just extend this other line. So I'm going to come and extend it to the further to the edge. So I'm going to remove these ones, and I'm going to have my plan ready for drafting. So the next thing is going to be our walls, and we're going to do that using the architecture tab here, and then we're going to select walls. So with that selected, we're going to select the type of wall for exterior walls, which is going to be this generic 300. I'm just going to click on it, and then I'm just going to draw out my walls on my plan. I'm going to start with this one up to that point. I'm just going to escape now. Then I'm just going to now draw the continuous loop of these external walls like this. So I'm just going to just follow the line and just draw a wall like that. So just continue the loop until you finish it off on the top there. So after finishing, you can just escape and you have something like this. So I'm just going to just extend this one, or actually just make it a bit longer up to somewhere there, so that we have something like this. So with that done, I just have to first measure how large this bedroom is. Yeah, it's just going to be 3000, and let me measure how long it is. 3000, yes, that's okay. But I can actually, when you have any problem up in our bathroom here, I'm just going to actually have to extend my bathroom to be a bit larger. So yeah, so with that said, let me just now draw my interior walls. I can just use the same walls, but I can use a thinner one actually. So I'm just going to go back to my walls. Then I'm just going to now drop down the menu and select the wall that I want. So it's going to be this 200 here, and I'm going to draft out my interior walls. Going to come there and draw the interior walls continuously like that. I'm going to escape. Then I'm going to draw this area. Then I'm just going to continue maybe up to that point, and I can just draw another loop. Or actually, I can just extend this section here to meet the wall there. So I'm just going to come here and extend it up to the wall there. So we have something like this, and this is the plan of the wall plans of our building. So let me just reduce this wall here. I want to reduce it and let it just go back to the corner there. Let me make sure it's at the edge of our corner, and then I'm just going to now use an interior wall to draft this area here. So I'm going to go back to walls. I'm going to use the interior option, and then I'm just going to now draft out this area. Let me escape, Control Z to remove that error, and then I'm going to now finish it off like that. So you can see it has reduced the width of my bathroom to like 800, and I don't want, so I just want to make it like, I want to make it 1000. So I'm just going to select this wall, and then I'm just going to type 1000 there. And I'm just going to enter, and it's going to push my wall up a bit. So it's going to be a change of plan, but it's going to actually be okay. So with that done, I now have my walls, and the next thing I can do is now put my windows. So I'm just going to my window here, and then I'm going to use this window. Maybe I can go and edit it a bit. I just duplicate it first to make a larger window. Let me say 1500 by 1500 mm. Then I'm just going to press OK, and you're going to now edit the width and the length. So I'm going to, let me come here, and the height I mean, so we're going to edit it here. So let me come here and make it 1500, and we're going to do the same for this other one. Make it 1500. I'm going to apply, and then you're going to press OK. So now going to place the windows where I want them. So I want one here, make it inside, and then I want here for my bedroom. Make sure the seal is at 900. That's the default seal height, and I'm just going to use that. So let's continue and continue placing our windows and up to somewhere there. So let me just put the last one. Let me just flip it by clicking those arrows there, and I'm just going to edit this one to be a bit smaller. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to edit type, and then I'm going to duplicate again and make this one like 1000 by 1000. So I'm going to 1000 here, and here 1002. I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to just edit it to be at 1000 and here at 1000. So I'm going to press apply and OK, and this one the seal is going to be a bit higher, maybe 1000, and I'm going to apply. So with that done, now I can just push it, or I can just push it a bit somewhere there, and now I can put the ones for my bathroom. So I'm just going to go back again and do the same process, duplicate the first one and just edit the M to 500 by 500 for my bathrooms, and then I'm going to press OK, and we're going to edit our height and our width here. So just as simple as that, and then remove it, and then we apply and press OK. So that done, I can now place it on my bathroom areas. It's going to have one here and one here. So that done, now we have our windows, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my floor. So to do my floor, I'm going to go here, the same architecture tab, select floor, then I'm just going to select the type of floor that I want. So I'm going to use, maybe let me just see which one I want here. Yeah, maybe I think these ones are, they are very limited. So I'm just going to use the generic 300, and then I'm just going to draft out my floor boundaries in the plan. I'm just going to use the largest edge. I'm going to extend it up to the edge here, and then I'm just going to make it full up to the top. So make sure it covers the whole plan up to there, and I'm just going to click, and I'm just going to see if it has covered everything, and then click on the tick there. So with that done, we have finished the floor, and we can now, let me extend my walls to meet my floor edge there. So let's extend the other wall too here, and let's extend it to there. So that done, now we have our plan drafted out in the walls, and I can now remove the lines that we used for drafting. You can just select one line, right click, go to select all instances visible, and then I can just delete them. So now we have these. Then the next thing is going to be our door. So I'm just going to go to our door, and we are going to create, actually I'm just going to create doors first before we start putting them. So I'm just going to come and go to edit type, going to duplicate one, and then I'm going to create one for my interior. Let me call it interior door, that, and then I'm going to press OK, and then I'm just going to edit this width to be 700 for my interior door. So I'm going to press OK, press 700, and then it's going to apply and press OK. So with that done, I can now apply this door to my interior, and it's going to be in some areas like this area here. It's going to be in this area too. Let me make sure it's okay. Maybe just escape and maybe put it, flip this one like this, and then flip it inside like that. So we have that, and then we have some one here, and then let me just put it, go back and select the door and place it there. I think it won't fit, but we'll have to just extend our wall back. So I'm just going to remove that, and then we're going to drag this wall back a bit. So we're going to drag it somewhere there. Yeah, it's going to eat some space for our bathroom, but remember what I told you earlier, this door won't be opened like it's, you see it, you don't usually open a door up to the end when you enter a room. You just open some at an angle and you enter. So we're going to use that allowance later. So I'm going to just flip it here like this, and then I will just represent it to show that it's going to be opened at an angle. So we're going to do that later. So the next thing is going to be maybe a door here. Let me first remove this and make it a bit smaller. Actually, this one is too big. Let me make it like 1500. See what's happening. Actually, yeah, I don't know how it became that big. So let me cancel it and let me put a door there. So door for my bedroom. Yeah, so let me just flip it this other side, and I think it's okay now. I can just extend this wall just to meet that area there. So we have these, and I think our doors are ready except for the exterior doors, which I'm just going to use a different one. Just going to use the first option, or let me just use the first option that we had, and I can now place the walls where the door where I want it. So I'm going to place it there, and I'm going to place it to be open outside in the kitchen like that. So with that done, now you see our doors and windows and the walls and the floor are done. The only thing remaining is the furniture. So I'm just going to reduce this wall a bit. Yeah, something like that. So I'm going to first start by putting the beds, and we're going to go to the living room next. So to bring in furniture in Revit, you just go to the components here, then you go to load family, and then you just look for what you want. So I'm going to look for my beds. Let me go back up to my, and just go previous up to where I want my things to be. Actually, let me just have gone too much. Let me go to my US. Let me first just search. Yeah, so I'm just going to come to my home page, which is the US page, and I'm going to select furniture here. I'm going to enter, and then you can now look for what you want. I'm going to go to beds. Let me enter here, and then I'm just going to use this bed shaker here. This is the most standard bed here. So I'm going to open, and then I'm going to now just place it where I want it. So I'm going to actually place this one here and place another one there. So like this, let me just place them first, and then the beds are complete, and I can escape and now rotate this one, and let me just rotate it like this, full rotation, and then we have something like this. So let me just bring it back a bit so that it fits in to my room like that. I don't want it to be touching the wall exactly. So let me control Z because this rotation has not happened well. So let me rotate it again, go like this, and I'm just going to make sure I do it straight. Yeah, so with that done, now you see it's okay. And I'm going to this one and doing the same thing, coming to this area here, and I'm just rotating it like that. So make sure you use the rotating tool, which is up there. And the next thing is going to be our bathroom, and let me go. Actually, the bathroom is a wet area. We can do it last. Let's go to our living room. So I'm going to go to components and load in family. I'm just going to go back previous year, and we're going to look for our seating, and then we're just going to look for a sofa. This one is the best sofa in Revit, and I'm going to open it, and I'm going to just place it on where I want my sofa to be, somewhere here. And I'm just going to flip it to face the other direction, and I think we only need one sofa in this living room, so I'm going to escape, and we're going to bring the smaller chair in. So I'm going to load family again, and I think this one is the smaller. Let me just look for it. I think it's supposed to be somewhere here, so we'll find it later. Let me
see where it is. I'll have to just scroll like this until you find it. Let me see where it is. I think it's up, it's here. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to open it and I'm going to place it there, and we're going to just rotate it like we did for our bed. I'm going to select it, rotate it, and to be okay, let me just make it face this other direction and have our chair there. So we're going to bring our table. I'm going to go to load family, and I'm just going to look for, I'm going to go back to previous, and then we're going to look at tables. I'm just going to look for a coffee table, so I'm going to select this one to open it, and I'm going to place it there. So yeah, I think it's a small table, so I'm going to edit it. I'm going to select it, go to edit type, and I'm just going to edit the length to be a bit larger, maybe 1200, and I think the height is okay. The width, I think it should be, I think the width is okay. Let me just make it 600, and let me apply and press OK. So yeah, with that done, you can see the coffee table is at least, and the next thing is going to be our TV stand and TV. Let me just put in the TV stand only, and we are going to assume the TV is going to be placed there. So I'm going to go here, and I think the TV stand is in storage. It's not actually in storage, but it's something that looks like a TV stand, this credenza. So I'm going to be using this. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to place it there. So I think it's a large thing, so I'm going to edit it again. Just place it there centrally, and I'm going to escape, and now I'm going to select it and edit it. I'm going to make sure my width is a bit smaller, maybe 1500, and my depth should not be this big. It's supposed to be like 450. So I'm going to enter and apply that and press OK. So it becomes the standard size, and I'm going to just drag it back a bit so that we have it near my wall like that. So yeah, somewhere there. Let me just zoom in so that you can drag it well. Somewhere, maybe somewhere there. So that's okay. And now we have our living room complete. So the next thing is going to be our bathroom and then the kitchen. So for the bathroom, it's going to be, we're just going to do the same thing. Go to components, load in family, and then I'm just going to go to the previous up to, let me go again, previous, and then we're going to look for plumbing in this section here. I'm just going to look for plumbing now, and then I'm going to select architectural and the fixtures. So first we're going to start by our water closets, which are the toilets, and I'm going to use one of these toilets here. So this one is the best one, so I'm going to use it and open it, and then I'm just going to place my toilet there. So I'm going to place it somewhere here, and the one is going to be facing this direction like this. So let me just place it there, and then you can make my bedroom a bit smaller because that's it's eating up space for a bathroom. So I'm going to escape, and I'm going to rotate this one to face this other direction like that. Let me make sure it's okay like this. Take a bigger line like that. So that done, now we have our sitting toilet there. I'm just going to drag it to come to the front a bit. So it's going to be somewhere here. Yeah, so that done, let me come back here and fix this issue here. I'm just going to take this wall and I'm going to drag it inside a bit to allow for a larger bathroom, because somebody cannot be sitting there. So yeah, that's okay. And now we have a bathroom that has an allowance for you to actually sit. So I'm just going to place the sink here, and this door, we are going to make sure it shows that it's not opening all the way through. So I'm going to go back and the components, and I'm going to load in family, and I'm going to now load in my, maybe the shower con. I'm going to pick it up and open it, and I'm just going to place it in my plan. So this one is going to be a bit there, so it's going to take up a lot of space. I'm just going to edit it because these showers are not usually that big. Let me go to edit type. This one is just too big for a shower, so I'm going to make it a bit smaller, maybe 700, and I'm going to apply. Yeah, so I'm going to make this one 700 too.
and then you're going to apply. I'm going to press OK. So I'm just going to now drag this shower cabin here, and it's going to be okay now. So the next thing is going to be our sink, which we are just going to bring in a 2D version of it. So let me just put my toilet a bit to allow for space for my sink there. Now it's a small house, so we're going to just play around with the space. Yeah, so I'm going to now go to my components again, the load family in, and then I'm going to go to the previous and look for my sink. So it's going to be this one. I think I'm going to look for one that is okay. I think this one is okay, so let me see if there's another better one. Actually this one is okay, so I'm just going to open it and I'm going to place it against this wall. So it's going to show something like that. So I'm going to actually have to escape first and edit this because I know it's very big. So I'm going to know it's going to be something like the width is not supposed to be like 600, it's supposed to be like 450 or something. And the depth is not supposed to be this big, it's supposed to be like 300 because this type of sink you just see in the malls or something like that. So let me now apply and press OK, and we have a normal sink for our bathroom here. So I'm just going to bring it back a bit somewhere there. So we have our sink now, and I'm just going to drag a copy to somewhere here. I'm just going to select the sink and I'm going to press CS to drag a copy, and I'm just going to drag a copy here. So yeah, so I'm just going to escape. Now we have our sink area. Yeah, so for my shower, this other area, I'm just going to leave a space for my shower. Just going to annotate it, and we are going to have this space for my shower. So we don't have the shower head in terms of the furniture, so I'm just going to leave this space so that maybe you can create the shower head later and represent it in our floor plan. So let me just drag this area here. Yeah, so I think 500 is enough for somebody to bathe. There's a longer length, so it's going to be enough space. So I think everything is okay, and then the only thing remaining is maybe my wardrobes and the kitchen. So let me just go and put in my wardrobes. I'm going to go to the architecture component, going to load in family, and we're just going to go previous ones up to now. Go back to our home page, and now we go to furniture again. Let me just scroll here until I see furniture. Yeah, then I'm just going to look for storage, and I'm just going to select wardrobe. So this one is okay. Let me open it, and I'm going to place it there. So that placed there, I'm just now going to come to my, so I'm going to select it, I'm going to rotate it to be at the right direction, like this one, and I'm just going to drag it back a bit somewhere there. So let me just make it sure, yeah, it's okay there. And I'm just going to edit this one, maybe make it a bit longer, maybe like 1200. The width is 1200, the height is, yeah, it's okay. So I'm just going to make it a bit longer than that. So 1500 is going to be okay. So the depth is actually too big because it's supposed to be 450, and the height is okay. So I'm going to apply and press OK. So I'm going to have something like that, and I'm just going to drag it to be in position. So that done, I can now drag a copy by just pressing CS, and I'm just going to drag a copy in my bedroom, and we can figure out where it's supposed to be. So for my bedroom, I think it's supposed to be somewhere here. So let me see if it's going to fit in, and if it's not, you're going to just fix it like that. So let me just put it somewhere there, and let me flip it the right direction. And this one I'll have to reduce its, just have to reduce its width, or actually I have to reduce the width of my bed. So actually I can just rotate this bed so that it comes like this to allow for more space for my bed. Just some slight change. Yeah, it's going to be okay like this. Yeah, I know it's not one of the best design choices, but let's just do it for ours because of the space we have. So I'm just going to drag this one back like that, and now we have something like this. So I'm just going to flip it so it faces the right direction, And now we have our furniture complete. So the next thing is our kitchen, and I'm just going to use the floor to create the worktop, and then I'm going to import in the furniture for the kitchen. So I'm just going to go to floor, I'm going to go to edit type, and then I'm going to duplicate, then I'm just going to write it worktop. I'm going to press OK, and then I'm just going to go to the edit type here and make my thickness to be maybe like 100. So I'm going to press OK, and let me make sure it's supposed to be up a bit. Let me apply this, and then I'm going to go to my height offset here and make it the height of our worktop. So it's going to be like 900, so above the ground. Let me just select it again and write 900. Why is it not changing? Let me just come here and try again. Maybe if it does not, we can, yeah, it applies. And then I'm just going to now draw it out using my line tool. So I'm going to come here and draw how wide I want it. So maybe it's going to up to somewhere there. Let me just zoom in to see it well, like that. And I can just edit this to be like 600. I'm going to enter, then I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to chamfer this corner because this corner is too sharp. I'm just going to retract this one like this, and maybe retract this other one like this. Then I'm just going to use the fillet tool, and then I'm just going to join it like this. So let me come here, let me zoom in. I'll have to first select one of them and just show how I want to fillet my thing. So I'm going to now escape, and now we have our floor. So our worktop, I mean. So I'm going to finish it off, and I'm just going to remove that. And now we have our worktop for our kitchen. So the only thing remaining is the sink, and maybe we can put something for our cooker here, because our cooker is not in the furniture. Let me just show using my detail line where it's supposed to be. It's going to use that option, and we're going to draw it out like that. So yeah, that's going to be like ample space for our cooker. And the last thing we're going to do is just going to place our sink. We're just going back to architecture, component, then loading family. Then we're just going to go back to previous up to where we find the plumbing option. And then we're just going to look for our sink architectural fixtures, and then sinks. For our sink, I think we will just find one for the kitchen. I think maybe it's this one. Let me just see if this is a better one. Yeah, this one looks a bit better. Let me just use this one. I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to just place it there. So let me place it somewhere in a wall here. Yeah, and then I'm just going to now drag it to, I'm just going to move it using the moving tool, and I'm going to move it to this point here, and then we are just going to rotate it to match how it's going to be fixed. So I'm going to rotate it like that. I'm just going to zoom in, and I'm going to put it back like this. So yeah, so with that done, I think we have finished our floor plan. Everything is okay. So I'm going to now just select one of my walls here and make the walls black. I'm going to go to edit type, and then in the graphics area, the first option, I'm going to change it to solid fill, and then I'm going to press OK and apply, and my exterior walls will be changed to black. And I'm going to do the same with my interior walls. Just select one, go to edit type, go to the graphics, the first option, and then I'm going to change it to solid fill. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to apply. I'm going to press OK again, and now we have our plan finished in Revit. So now you can just compare how it was in Revit and how it was in Archicad. You can see both of them are just actually effective in drafting out a plan, and you can just compare maybe the 3D and see how things are going. So maybe let me just remove this, and I'm just going to go to the 3D, the view here, and I'm going to show 3D. And let me just see how it's going to be. So this is how it looks in my 3D. Let me go back to my floor plan and just reduce, this is not the one I want. I think it's this one. I'm going to now reduce the height for my walls. I'm just going to select one wall, and then I'm going to control to have this plus, and I'm going to select the other walls. So I'm going to just do this to all my walls, select them, all of them. Let me remove this one. Let me remove this one. Actually, let me escape first. Control these. Just select all of them. So like that, like this. So make sure I select the walls. No, I want the walls only. I don't know why it's so cumbersome to select things in Revit. So let me come here, and here. I'm just going to change the height for my walls because I've seen in the 3D they are very high. So I'm going to just zoom out again. Select this one. Select these ones first. Zoom back in. Control and just select all the walls. I'm going to select that one too. That one, this one. Let me make sure I've selected another one here. So these remaining ones, actually you can just fix them later. So let me go to the properties tab here, and now just make sure my walls are 3000. So I'm just going to fix this one to be at 3000. I'm going to apply, and then I'm just going to select these walls that I did not select earlier. So I'm going to select this one, control, and I think this one was somewhere here. Actually just fix it in the 3D. So I'm going to make it 3000, and I'm going to apply. So I'm going to go to the 3D. I think this is the 3D, and I'm going to select this one and make it 3002. So I'm going to apply, and it's going to apply itself. So you can see this is Revit, and this is how I've drafted out my plan, and this is how it looks like the 3D. I'm just going to show you for Archicad too, so that you can compare both of them. I'm just going to make this one realistic by going here and choosing realistic, and it's going to change it to realistic. Now you can see the graphics for my Revit, and let me just orbit it well using this orbit key here, and you can just orbit it better. So I'm just going to just orbit it better for you guys to see and compare which one is going to be your choice of software. So this is Revit, and there are many things Revit can do, which I'm going to show you in other videos. But I was just comparing how drawing a plan in Revit and drawing a plan in Archicad is. So this is Revit itself, and you can just go back. Let me just escape. And I'm going to show you the one in Archicad for that. So in Archicad it looks like this. You see, it's a bit more easier to orbit here. Yeah, it looks like this. It's just the same building, but just different software. So yeah, so you can see it's just the same building. So with that done, now I hope you can now select what you want to use, but I think both of them are just good at drafting plans. And yeah, thanks for watching, and make sure you stay subscribed so that you can have videos like this and learn more about Archicad and maybe some about Revit. So thanks for watching.